Thursday, August 4th, 2022 was Tesla's annual shareholder meeting. After a good night's sleep, here are my major takeaways from that meeting. First, Elon was in a great mood. Elon was having fun, seemed relaxed, and had a bit of a tan going on, I wonder from where. It's always encouraging to see the leader of a company in good spirits, especially with the amount of attacks he has been receiving lately. As an investor, it was great to see him having fun. Next, Tesla's goal of 20 million cars by 2030 has become much more likely. Important to keep in mind that this is a run rate number, meaning that Tesla is planning to exit 2030 with the capacity to build 20 million cars per year. In the past, this was a number that was exclusively mentioned by Elon, and it was a surprise to hear Robin Delholm, Tesla's chairwoman, come out and reiterate this number. This gives a signal that this isn't just Elon throwing a number out there, that it's something the company is tracking towards and is putting its entire efforts behind. This is extremely positive for Tesla's future growth prospects. And as a quick example, from today's projected 2 million run rate for year 2022 to 2030's goal of 20 million, that would require roughly 33% compound annual growth rate, which is below Tesla's projected 50% for the upcoming years. This means that this goal is 100% achievable. Next, Cybertruck pricing will change. This probably comes as a bummer to some, but Tesla has set the expectation that the Cybertruck's pricing and feature set will be different once it launches. However, Cybertruck machinery being delivered in a couple months is a huge signal to investors. What this means is that Cybertruck is real, Tesla is building it, and before long we'll see these triangles on wheels taking over Texas, and soon enough the rest of the United States. Next, we got the possibility for a share buyback. This is the first time I've heard Elon hinting at this, and I was surprised that he brought it up in the first place. The requirement is for Tesla to have sufficient future cash flows, a strong balance sheet, and a relatively stable world. However, this being floated as a possibility is telling, as it implies Tesla will reach a point where they will have more cash than they know what to do with. Depending on what camp you sit on, this is either bullish or bearish. Next, 4680 is not ready for prime time yet. The ramp of the product was omitted from the main slides and was only discussed during a question. Although this is not a problem for 2022's prospects, it becomes an increasing risk for 2023. The magnitude of its impact is debatable, but it becomes a bigger talking point for investors going into Q3 and Q4 of this year. If Tesla changes the verbiage to being more confident about the 4680 ramp, then investors can grow more confident in Tesla's ability to scale very rapidly. However, for long-term investors, this is just a blip in the radar and it shouldn't really mean much for Tesla's future prospects. Next, Elon gave a signal that a mild recession is likely. Elon has been great at predicting macro trends, calling out the negative GDP growth we're currently experiencing. However, Elon saying it's likely to be mild due to strong capital allocation is encouraging for the overall prospects of the US economy in the coming years. And lastly, and likely most importantly here, Elon is totally buying Twitter. Elon shared a bit of his vision for Twitter, calling back to his X.com days and how he wanted X to become a much bigger thing than what it became with PayPal. The fact that he hasn't sold any Twitter shares and has openly said that buying Twitter would accelerate his vision for this platform by 3 to 5 years, in my opinion, tells us that Elon is dead serious about the purchase. Depending on what camp you sit on, this is either a pro for Tesla's prospects or a con. Before we wrap up, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone who joined us yesterday for the live coverage of the investor meeting. We peaked at 3,600 viewers, which is completely crazy to think about. I also want to give a special shout out to all my Patreon and YouTube supporters, some of whom joined me yesterday for the live coverage. I also want to give a huge shout out to everybody who took part in the prediction game that we had going on, where people were able to place bets on what would be announced and what wouldn't be announced. And a huge shout out to Mike for making this whole platform possible. Thank you so much, Mike. Really appreciate you. For those that took part in this fun little exercise, I left the link in the comment section and in the description for you to access and see how you performed in this specific game. In summary, I think Tesla investors are in for a very, very good ride in the coming quarters, and I cannot wait to see what Tesla builds in the coming years. If you enjoyed this content, I would love it if you throw me a like, and I hope to see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.